Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. And yes, I'm not in my loft at the moment. I'm down in the spare room where I'm keeping all my models so far. And there you are, just to show you in certain states of repair and finishing. And most of them are near completion but not quite. And as I said in my previous post before Christmas, I want to spend this year in looking back over my models and finishing them off, because space is at a premium. But having said that, most of you will know that I have an obsession with the Millennium Falcon. And here is my Millennium Falcon model next to my Star Destroyer. It's rather bunched up on the shelf there. And as I said at the time when I created the Millennium Falcon, I couldn't afford a fine molds or a Bandai kit, so this would be the closest I could ever get to producing a model of reasonable display quality. And I think I did it quite reasonably well with this particular model. But I was never finished with the Millennium Falcon. And over the years I have taken the Falcon's design and tried to develop different ideas and different styles from it, that being the earliest attempt, which I think I've shown you before. And more recently I converted a big Kenner model into another version of the Millennium Falcon, which you see here, although it's not obviously not the Falcon. It's just taking the Millennium Falcon model and using it as a springboard to develop another big freighter from it. And there it is up in the loft, as you can see. But there was obviously another Falcon lurking in the background. And over the years I have been able to purchase, or rather find, two of the very, very large Kenner Falcons. This one, as you can see, is in a state of half completion. Well, it's not even looked at the moment. It's just been dumped in a corner. And one day, perhaps, I will look at that and try to get the off market. Was it yes? I think it's called off market add-ons that you can get from. I think I'm not sure what it is. Blue Tree or Round Tree. Anyway, someone will tell me. They are add-ons that you can get, so you can fill in the. I think you can get. Randy Cooper also does add-ons as well, that you can cut into the side panels and produce a really good model of the Millennium Falcon there. But that was that particular one. But I had another one which I'd been working on for some time, which you may have seen before, which I had actually greebled to hell, and it was this one, which you can see on the bench here in the half light. And as you can see, I have over the years been looking at it and never really got it finished. But I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to make a Millennium Falcon out of this. I'm going to, because I've already got one downstairs, I'm going to make a better YT transport. So as you can see, I have been working slowly in secret over the years, producing bits and pieces from it. I've taken out the original cockpit area, and I've put in this cockpit here, which is, most people recognise, is from an outrigger, the outrigger toy, but it looks better on the side, I think. I have taken out the top, and I've put in a transparent bit for the guns. I'm not going to have a gun on there. I'm not going to have a radar dish. I'm going to have a gun on there, and I'm going to do more glibbling on the other side. And this time round, I want to finish it off as a big YT transport, but different from the Millennium Falcon. Obviously, this is another YT variant, because as I said, I've already got a Falcon, and I've shown you the other one, which one day I will get to do as a proper Millennium Falcon. But this will be another version of the Millennium Falcon. I have extended the mandibles, and because the cockpit is now way back on the side, the mandibles look a lot longer and gives it a sleeker look. So in between finishing off the Pillar of Persuasion, which yes is over there, and I haven't forgotten about it, because obviously the last time I left you, that was on the bench and still is, as is my Shield of Tyrannus. I want to work on this YT Transport variant, which will be my finishing off of the old Millennium Falcon toy which I had, which I had greebled and which I then abandoned, and now I've got back again, and I've got the new legs for it, and I've got other little bits and ideas for it, and I'm going to finish this off as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing over the next few months together with the Pillar of Persuasion. So come with me on the journey. I don't know which one I'm going to finish first, whether it's going to be the Persuasion, whether it's going to be the Tyrannus, or whether it's going to be this one. But it keeps me going, and it keeps me, we'll be swapping between each of them. You'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's get on with the building. Onward and upward. So a little bit more work on my YT transport variation. I have started to work on the docking ring on that side of or one side of the vehicle. But of course, the other side of the vehicle doesn't have a docking ring. It's got the cockpit, and I'll turn that around, and you can see what I've done on the cockpit side. So the cockpit now is bedded in, so to speak, and it's been merged in with the rest of the model. So that's what it looks like now. The interior is completely blank, and I'm going to have to think about what I put into it as regards to an actual, a workable cockpit. One of the things I'm thinking about is using Warhammer 4000 models. They might be of the kind of scale I'm looking for to put into the cockpit itself. So we'll have a think about that. One of the, and I'm still don't know quite what I'm going to do here, whether it's going to be a radar dish or a gun. Still not sure. Still not sure what I'm going to put at the top here, whether it's going to be a gun. Probably will be a gun emplacement. But I do know what I'm going to put underneath here. Hang on, I'll turn it around and show you. So underneath the mandibles here, I have fabricated a forward gun position, which I'm going to show you. Here it is. And that's going to fit underneath the vehicle like that. And the guns are, sorry, it's a bit dark here, so you can't quite see it, but that's how it's going to look, roughly like that. The gun's facing forward, and I've mocked up a little cockpit inside. It won't have a figure on it because you won't be able to see the figure, but when you're looking at it sort of head on, you can just make out the cockpit inside of it. Get it into focus, and so you'll have the idea that there's a cockpit, some kind of control and gunnery position inside the cockpit itself. So that's going to go underneath there. So this is going to be more of a gunship rather than a freighter, but it'll still be a kind of smuggler's freighter idea to it. Now I'm going to have to wait for things to arrive because I've ordered the bits and pieces for it. So I'm going to have to go back now to the Pillar of Persuasion and start and continue working on that while my other bits arrive for the YT transport. But that's what I've done so far. So that shows you the gunnery pod in position, or the forward gun turret. And that's in position now. So that now is how it looks underneath, and I think that works quite well. So although the cockpit and the gun turret are different shapes, they're different shapes. Once they've all been primed, I think that will come together nicely because the shapes do complement each other, and I think they do work. So yeah, that's what it looks like underneath, and from the top as well. So yeah, this is going to be a radically different kind of YT transport. Those lines, a radically different YT transport, but yeah, I think I'm happy with that and what it's looking like now. Good, right, well, let's continue onward and upward. So with a little bit of my Christmas money, I bought myself this as a little Christmas gift, which is the 132 scale AH-19 Cobra US Marines Naval helicopter. And the reason I got that was that I could now make my cockpit. And I've started making my cockpit. Now this is the interior cockpit of the Cobra 132 scale, which I have broken apart and split into two rather, stuck it on some card because that will go very nicely into my cockpit here. I'll show you from the top. It slides nicely in like that. Once it's in position, it's in roughly. I've just put it roughly in position so you can see what I'm looking at. Oh, now it's falling on the floor. Just a minute. Always difficult to do things single-handedly. There you are. That's the thing roughly in position inside the cockpit, which I can now build up with the chairs and make a Millennium Falconish, or rather YT transport cockpit from those pieces, and it's going to look something like that. Right, and I also managed to purchase some figures. These are 132 scale World War II figures there, and they will fit, and these are the sprues for them. So once I have cut these sprues out and made the figures from them, they'll fit nicely into the cockpit. Once I'm going to modify the figures as well, so that they look a little bit more science fiction-y rather than World War II-ish. But there you are. That's the sort of scratch building, the kit bashing that I'm doing at the moment to create a cockpit for the interior. And once it's all put together, you'll see it a little bit more clearly. But we're off and running again. I've probably got all the bits that I need to finish this thing and to finish off the fabrication, and then I can just paint it. So because as I say, I started this many months ago, probably over 2.5 years ago really. So most of it's already done. So it just needs now the finishing off bits, and I say this cockpit will be the bit that I need to finish off. Right, well, let's continue it then. And so this afternoon I have fabricated the cockpit. As you can see, I've taken the figures that I had from the helicopter, and these are the Second World War figures, incorporating them with the helicopter that I bought, and other little bits and greeblies, and basically had a nice afternoon putting bits and pieces together into the form of a cockpit, which obviously will come together when it's painted and will look, I think, pretty good. And that fits in there. I'll actually let me fit it in, and I'll show you what it looks like. So the cockpit slides in like that, and then the other bit, bit goes on like that, and I'll show you that. I'll put that on. Yeah, hang on a second. I've got to get it right. So there, it goes in like that, and I need to put a few more struts around the cockpit because I don't like this idea of all this blank window. But on the whole, I think that looks alright. And you can see inside, and you will be able to see inside, but that's the way it works. So yeah, happy with the cockpit being fabricated and assembled. I think that works quite well. Right, well, I think we're kind of, there's only a few more bits now to fabricate before I can, then I have to start putting in the painting. I mean, there are some other bits, I'll take that off now. There are some more bits of detailing, some pipe work and stuff like that, which I can put in just to merge it together. I still don't like the idea that I've got this kind of, oh, these lines are terrible. If I move backwards, that's better. Uh, the cutouts are the shapes of the cutouts are very defined, and I want to break up the cutouts a little bit better. But on the whole, yeah, that's looking all right. So, cockpit done, and we can now move on to the. I still, yes, we've still got the guns to look at, and what we're going to put on that side. But we're moving now. We're moving now very quickly, rapidly forward. But that's not surprising since I've been working for 2 years on this thing, so an awful lot of it has been done already. Anyway, let's continue. So for the moment, I'm sticking with the white heat transport, and as you can see, I have added a new piece of fabrication to it in order to get away from the Millennium Falcon look. And as you can see, what I've done is I have put this gun emplacement sticking out from the side. Now that helps me because I was in a quandary as to what to do with this, whether I was going to use it as a radar dish or put guns on it. But this way, the gun emplacement works, and I think that takes away from, as I say, the Millennium Falcon look, but it gives something of a piece of greater interest to look at. If you look at it from that angle, you can see get an idea of what I'm talking about, and you can move the gun around so that it actually moves around. But I think it works, and I'm going to put another secondary gun at the bottom, sticking out at the bottom. So now I can use this perhaps to go back to the radar dish idea, which is fine, and I can still put a gun emplacement on top like that there. So I've got one gun there, one there, and a gun emplacement there, and I think that works nicely. It's because if I put the gun emplacement there, then the cockpit over there offsets it. You have a kind of asymmetry, but the asymmetry works. Actually, get it like that. You can see more detail. See what I'm talking about. So yeah, really happy with this. This is really beginning to take off. That's why I'm sticking with it for now, because I want to get as much done as I possibly can before going back to the other ships. But yeah, using up my bits box, but that's working nicely. Right, let's continue. So more work on the YT transport. Continuing the fabrication of the docking ring around this side. I filled in some of the gaps there to give it more depth and texture there. So that's looking interesting. I'm still waiting for a turret to arrive that's going to complement the big turret here. There's going to be another turret underneath. I'm getting that from eBay, and that's going to be something from Warhammer 4000. So that's going to look quite good underneath. I've reimagined the radar dish on the front here, and that works now quite well with the overall look of the ship. I've also angled it back slightly so that it doesn't jump, it's not so much at a right angle, and I think that works from a profile point of view. If I turn the ship round, you'll see what I mean. Well, I'll show it to you from that angle. See, that kind of works quite nicely, and then from that perspective you can see how it's angled back so that it fits more sleekly into the profile of the ship. And I've been working on the cockpit as well, the cowling for the cockpit. You see I've added some more struts, and I've added this sensor unit at the front, so when the whole thing is put into the cockpit altogether, which I'll show you, it looks like that. And that's rather rough, as you can see, because I've got a lot of filling to do, and of course I haven't put the interior of the cockpit in, so I haven't slid it in yet. But that's more or less what it's going to look like. It's held on a minute with a bit of masking tape, because obviously I haven't glued it in or set it in yet. But that's what it's going to look like. So the overall shape is looking like that, and that's coming along nicely. Some other bits to get. Still got to get the upper gun sorted out, as I say, the inner turret, and then I'm thinking of building up along the back as well into the engine ports at the back. But at the moment, that's what it's looking like. Okay, coming back a bit further. There you are. That's what I'm looking at, and I think that's yeah. I'm really happy with the how that's coming on. So yeah, onward and upwards. Let's continue. So I've painted up the interior of the cockpit, and I'm going to place it into the cockpit and then glue it in. It's not totally accurate, but you know, as I say, once the cockpit is in, once the cowling is in position, you can't really see too much inside it. This gives the impression of interior and figures inside it. So let's put it in, and you'll see what I mean. And there she is glued inside, and that's going to work very nicely. Now if I bring the cockpit round, I'll show you what it looks like with the cockpit on. So we'll just stick that cockpit into place like that, and there you are. You can still see inside and get some idea of the people inside, but the cockpit is now on. Well, it will be on when I've attached it properly, and yeah, and that's what it's going to look like. So I'll take the cockpit off because I need to paint it, of course, but that's what it's going to look like. And I've also done some detailing on the front there, the front sensor unit. So I'm happy over that because, as I say, that's what it looks like, and yeah, that's coming together very nicely. Right, onward and upward. That's the cockpit. Let's take it off now for now, and continuing with the rest of it. And so with things just placed on, just so I can get an idea of what I'm looking at, I think that's looking okay. I've got the guns, well, I say everything's just placed on it at the moment, nothing's glued down, but the cockpit is sort of finished fabricating. I do have now the top gun, which again I haven't glued on yet, but that's going to be that's another piece that I've just arrived actually this afternoon, so I was able to incorporate that. The radar dish is in position again, not glued down, but it's there. The other gun, I still haven't got the bottom turret for the gun emplacement, but that's fine. But looking at it from all angles, like that, for instance, yeah, I think that's coming along really nicely. I'm just going to turn it round so you can see the one with the other side of it. So yeah, I think that's working. There's the docking ring there, and as I say, once the other turret is in position underneath, that's going to sort of come out well. Then, as I say, I want to start working on the back. This area here, I've got an idea for this area here. It might work, might not work. We'll see. I'm not going to commit myself to that until I get the piece. But already really happy with how that's looking. Then, of course, we come to the big paint job, which is going to be massive. But I think I've got away from the Millennium Falcon. It looks a bit like the Millennium Falcon, but of course it is a YT transport. It is not the Millennium Falcon. It is another variation because I already have one. Anyway, yeah, I think that looks okay. Right, onward and upward. That's enough for today. We've got to wait for the other pieces to come in. Right. So the bottom turret has arrived, and I have fixed it onto the bottom there. So that's the snub-nosed lasers at the bottom, which complements the large photon cannon at the top. I'm calling it a photon cannon, even if it's not in canon for the Star Wars universe. But they are two photon cannon, and two turbo lasers down there. I'll have the another two turbo lasers there, and of course you've got the turbo lasers at the front. So I think this is quite heavily armed. There'll also be some missile emplacements as well. What I'm also working on, as you can see at the back, if I can rig it up properly, is that back bit there, which I'm now working on to fabricate a better looking engine area. Whoops, there. Once I've done it a bit more, fully figured it out and fleshed it out, it'll look a little better. But I wanted to get away from, again, my attempt is to get away from Millennium Falcon looks. So that's going to be the beginnings of the fabrication of the back. I want to do a lot more greeble work with it, make it look more industrial and engine-like at the back there. So that's my little project for today. See how far I can get with that section. Right, onward and upward. Let's continue. And so there you are. That's what I've been fabricating this afternoon onto the back of the ship, and that's working very nicely, I think. When I've put some more greeblies onto it and filled it out a bit better, you'll be able to see that a bit more clearly. But yeah, that disguises the Millennium Falcon field more, and I think that works very nicely. So it's greebled out to put a lot more detail into it, and it carries the whole motif of the back of the engine construction through into the turret area as well. Yeah, like that. That's working nicely. It's taken about 4 hours, but it's good. It's not too bad. As I need to use a lot more filler. I need to use filler along the sides just to merge it in. And then I'm still thinking about what I can do with the rest of the engine vents. Whether when I'm going to drill those out and put inserts into them or leave them. I'll see how I feel, how things are going. But yeah, happy with how that looks at the back. Yes, I am. As I say, I am continuing this. I am working my way through this Falcon because now that this YT transport rather, because now that I've got the bit between my teeth, so to speak, and I've got all the ideas flowing, I don't want to, stop and go on to another project. I want to finish this off. I know I've got that one to do, and it's still on the bench, and I will get back to it. But no, this does need to be completed now, and I'm running away ahead of myself. But got so many ideas now that I need to complete this, and it's so near completion now that I might as well run with it to the end. Right, onward and upward. So a bit more work done on the engine fabrication at the back. Just a little bit more detailing put into it. I say it'll all come together when it's sprayed, but I just wanted to concentrate on the detailing there. I'll put a bit more filler onto it so it merges better into it, but that's what it's looking like at the back, which I'm really quite happy with. And yeah, that's working well. So then we'll work our way through to the front again, and then add more detailing around the inserts along the top there. But yeah, that's working out quite nicely, and overall we're getting there. So yeah, spent a nice afternoon working on the back there. You can see that a bit closer what I've been up to. I think I'll add some more pipe work as well around the back, just to add more interest to that as well. The good thing is that in profile like that, it doesn't stand out too much. It still remains fairly flat, which is what I wanted it to be. Okay, let's continue this journey. So more pipe work added to the back areas and the inserts, as you can see, to disguise the fact that they are printed into the insert, into the plastic itself, trying to give it a bit more three-dimensional depth. More pipe work around the engine bits at the back. I'll just swing this thing around and you can see the other side. As you can see, yeah, so this gives it a little bit more as I say, three-dimensional depth. Also, that area here, just to add more texture and dimensions to it. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do at the front with these circular inserts because they're. I don't have. See, what I'm trying to do is give them lips to give it so you could sort of think that the inserts were more three-dimensional rather than being punched into the plastic. That's a bit more difficult to do because it's finding circular bits that would go on top. I'll have a go, but it might not be possible with this particular plastic being what it is. But I'll give it a go, and then I'll work on the bottom, which needs and then I'll work on the bottom, which needs to be looked at. But yep, we're coming up to the final bits of fabrication and finishing off then, and then I'm going to start painting and assembling, getting that together. But that's what I've done so far, and continuing with this, as I say, I can't assemble the cockpit and the guns until they've been painted really, because I've got to, especially the insert here, that has to be masked and painted before the gun can go on top of it, of course, and same with the cockpit. But we're getting there. So onward and upward, let's continue. So I'm starting now final assembly of the pieces. I said I was going to wait to do the painting of the cockpit before I assembled the cockpit, but in actual fact I've got to put the cockpit on because I had to merge the bottom area from the cockpit, from the front of the cockpit into the body, the back of the cockpit. So that bit had to be merged in with putty and filled in, and that wouldn't have worked if I wouldn't been able to do that if I'd painted it already. So I've assembled that already, and I'll have to mask off the cockpit clear bits, transparencies, in order to paint the whole thing. The gun has been done on the other side, but I haven't fixed it in yet. That can be taken out and painted separately. The top can be painted separately as well, and the radar dish. But everything else has now had a bit of a merge down with some primer just to get that fixed in, and that's what we're looking at now. So it's beginning to take shape. As I say, final assembly is now being done. I've added quite a bit more detail, and when I've painted it all, we'll do a nice round trip around it to have a look in more detail. But I'm getting there, finally getting to the end game, so to speak. A lot more detail has been added, as you can see, but that's looking, I think it's looking pretty good. I'll probably add a bit more. I'll probably do another greebly pass just to make sure that I'm happy with all the greeblies that are in it. The bottom has been done as well, and I'll show you that shortly. But yeah, we're on to the final assembly now, and then the painting as we continue it. Yeah, looking good. Good afternoon's work, that. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so I've added another coat of primer, a little bit more greebling. I have blocked off the cockpit with masking tape, with masking fluid, and then I have painted around that. And I've started applying some textured panel work to the ship, and as you can see, we are getting near the end game now. So I will probably do a little bit more greebling work, just to get the final bit of textures and detailing done. But I think then we go on to the weathering and the painting. But that's what it's looking like at the moment, and I'm really pleased with that. It's come along really. It's come a long way. I need to probably use a bit of filler along the back and get that sorted. But on the whole, yeah, I haven't stuck down the upper gun yet because I want to paint underneath that. Well, that's been done. Then, oh, you can't see down the side. I'll turn it round and you'll be able to see it a little bit more clearly then. Hang on a second. So that's the underneath, as you can see. And I've got to start just filling in some, because I want to get rid of that yellow. The paint didn't take too kindly to that yellow plastic, so I need to just touch that up a bit when I go underneath. I'm still going to work a little bit on the undercarriage. Although it's on magnets, you can take the undercarriage off, but I want to make that undercarriage look a bit better. And from the front as well, on this side, the gun placement looks nice. Work our way around, but that's looking really nice from that angle. I like that. And going around the back as well, the docking bay looks okay, but again we might need to put a little bit more filler into that. So we're just basically looking at touching up now, getting the touch up done, and getting all those details bedded in. I added some colour, as I say, to the panels just to get an idea of what it would look like. I'll add a few more colour motifs as well, dark greys and perhaps some red as well. But yeah, that's really coming along to the end now. So that looks okay from that bit. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we've, as I say, done quite a bit today. We continues. I think we're almost 90% done now. So as I say, it's just the washing that needs to be done, and the final bits of detailing and filling until I'm satisfied. But yeah, I think I'm getting quite a good model there. Right, onward and upward. So I've jumped ahead a bit because I've had a very busy week and a bit, and I've done a bit of work, but didn't really film it because, as I say, other issues took hold. But suffice to say that I have continued to greeble it up, and I've applied some washes to it. So we're getting now to the end stage, and as you can see, I've dirtied it down quite a bit. I'm going to now apply some more washes to it to give it a little bit more texture and depth, bring out some of the panel lines. I'm not going to do any more greebling because I've reached saturation point on it now. We are almost 98% done now on this vehicle. I still haven't given it a name, to be perfectly honest, but I will do in the next couple of days, I think. But we are practically finished now, I think, and I'm really happy with how it's looking. The washes has brought out quite a lot of the details and panel lines on it, which is good. And I'll show you the underneath shortly as well. The underneath is more or less the same. But yeah, we are now nearly there now. I want to dirty it down even further by putting in rust and some of my dry brush it with a bit of chrome. But yeah, we're more or less finished now. I'm going to let it dry and then rub it over with an old toothbrush, which scratches it up a little bit more, gives it more of a texture. And then, as I say, bring out some little details with some chrome, chrome a bit, and some gunmetal. So I've got some detail there. But the overall dirtying down and wash, I think, weathering looks good, I think, from this point of view. I haven't fixed the top gun yet because I want to get underneath it as well. But yeah, the back looks good, and a lot of the detail has been brought out by the washers. Right, okay, well, we'll continue now. I'll say the next stage is the rusting and the darkening of some, giving it some light and shades around the panelling. As I say, the actual fabrication with all the bits, all the greeblies is finished, because I don't want to overdo it. And I think, as I say, I've reached saturation point on the greebling. Right, onward and upward. A little bit more to do, and then I think I'm going to fit, and then it's going to be finished. Here's the finished ship. I have given it many washes and other paint textures, and I'm calling it a day. So I'm going to give you a quick tour, just to show you what it's all about. And you get some idea of all the detail that's been put into it. It was rather big to put onto the bench upstairs, so I've taken it downstairs, and I hope the lighting gives you some idea of the textures that I put onto it. I think the back has come along quite nicely. And plenty of rust and grime, as you can see, which I'm quite happy with, because I'm improving on my painting techniques, I think. As I say, I still haven't figured out a name for it, so perhaps you'd like to give me some suggestions in your comments. There's the underneath, with the gun turret underneath there. And I'll stand it up on end so you can see the full underneath effect. So that's how I've washed it underneath. And quite happy with how I've hidden the two extra landing legs, which I didn't really like. I always like 3 landing legs on this transport rather than 5. Never thought it really went. So there we are, guys. This is my YT Transport Millennium Falcon conversion, all complete. And it's only taken me 3 years to do it, but you know, I take my time. So yes, I know that I was supposed to do the other projects upstairs, but I started finishing off this one, and I wanted to get it finished. And now I can put this into the summer show, Small Spaces summer show in the summer. So thanks a lot again for watching the channel, guys. Give it a like, give me a thumbs up if you can, put some comments if you want to make them, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, guys. Bye for now.